G'day kids, thanks for tuning in to another Aussie episode. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that way you won't miss out on any of the new videos we put out, and it would certainly make my day. In the meantime, enjoy this video.
Ozzie, 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 oi! Ozzie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of mine.
G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie.
So kids, I'm here in Ozzie's kitchen. Let's get stuck into making some ANZAC biscuits. Now it is said that the wives of soldiers came up with the original ANZAC biscuit recipe using ingredients that let the biscuits stay fresh in the weeks that it took to get to the soldiers overseas. I've also heard that the original ANZAC biscuits were as hard as a rock, so hard that some of the soldiers would grind them up and use them as porridge instead. Now these are the ingredients that you're going to need. Plain flour, rolled oats, bicarb or baking soda, coconut, white or brown sugar, golden syrup, butter, and you'll also need a little bit of water. These biscuits are so tasty. The warm sweetness from the golden syrup combined with the wholesome goodness of rolled oats and coconut is a flavour that's unique to these iconic Aussie biscuits. And this is how you make them. Step 1, you need to preheat your oven to 170 degrees. Kids, make sure you get a grown-up to help you with that. Actually, why don't you get a grown-up or a friend to help you cook these biscuits? Because it's always more fun when you're doing something like this together. Okay, the next part is to start mixing some of these ingredients together. So we're going to start with 1 cup of that plain flour. Pop that in the bowl there, just like that. Then we're going to have 1 cup of rolled oats. Just like that. Then 1 cup of coconut. Oh, yummy. That smells pretty good. And then we need 3/4 cup of sugar. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, then we're going to mix all of those ingredients together. Give those a really good mix, and that is step 1 complete. Step number 2 is to melt the butter and then the golden syrup together. Now you can do that on a stovetop or in the microwave, but either way you're going to need an adult to help you do that. So I've measured out 150 grams of butter. Then I've got some scales here and I'm going to measure out 4 tablespoons of golden syrup, which is about the same as 80 grams. And look at how tasty that is. That's going to be yummy in these bickies. So we've measured out our butter and golden syrup. Now I'm going to use the microwave to melt these guys and I'll be back in just a sec. Alright kids, so I've melted that butter and that maple syrup and it smells good. Now we need to mix 1 teaspoon of that bicarb or that baking soda with 1.5 tablespoons of water. Just give that a mix around and then pop it in there. And then mix that together a bit more. Oh, yum. And then we need to add that to these dry ingredients. Yum, yum. So you add those ingredients together and then we take our mixing spoon and we give it a really good mix. And this is a really good part that you kids can get involved in because it's super easy to mix these ingredients together. And you've got to make sure you mix it really well. So you can see that that's all mixed together really well now. And it's a beautiful golden colour. It smells so good. And that's ready to be rolled into little balls and put in our baking tray, which I've got here. Baking tray lined with baking paper. So this is a really fun bit, kids. This is where you get to get your hands dirty. And we're gonna take that ingredients and roll it up into balls, and then we're gonna pop them on the tray there, and that's gonna become our biscuits. So you can make these biscuits whatever size you want, but a good guide is to make them about a tablespoon size, and they're really sticky. So you just mold them into a ball, and then you just pop them on the tray like that. So of course, kids, when you're cooking anything, you've got to make sure your hands are really clean. So I've washed my hands a couple of times, and that way we're not spreading any germs around. So you can see it doesn't really matter if some are bigger or smaller than the others. And it doesn't really matter that they're not a perfect circle either. They can just be big blobs just like that. Because when they bake, they're going to flatten out anyway. So they're going to start to flatten and take a shape of like a frisbee or a biscuit. One thing to keep in mind is not to put them too close together, because when they cook, they are going to flatten out and they're going to take up more space. 8 beautiful ANZAC Biscuits. So the next step is to put it in the oven, which has been preheating at 170 degrees. Now the big question is, crunchy or chewy ANZAC Biscuits? Now I'm a bit of a chewy kind of ANZAC Biscuit guy. For chewy ANZAC Biscuits, we're going to put them in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, but always make sure you check after about 10 minutes to make sure they're not burning. If you want your ANZAC Biscuits hard, then you don't even need to change the recipe. You just put them in the oven for a little bit longer, so maybe 12 to about 15 minutes. So let's get these in the oven. Let's start smelling that beautiful ANZAC Biscuit smell, and I can't wait to eat them. In the meantime, kids, as I said, this is a messy job, but the best way to clean your hands is to use your mouth. Yummo. So kids, my hands are nice and clean now, but I didn't lick all of that ingredients off there. I did wash them because I didn't want to make myself sick. Now I'm going to take this tray and I'm going to put them in the oven for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to make them nice and chewy. G'day kids, I'm back. Check these out. How good do they look? So we put them in the oven for 10 minutes. We checked them out and they were not quite cooked. So we went another 2 minutes, which makes 12 minutes in total, and then they look perfect. So we've just taken them out of the oven, we've put them on this cooling tray, and I reckon right now, they're gonna be absolutely perfect to taste. Just the right amount of chewiness, I reckon. So let's give them a try. Wow, that's a tasty ANZAC Biscuit. We've had some success over here. Kids, I hope you've had some success too, and I hope you had lots of fun cooking your very own ANZAC Biscuits at home. I reckon you should share them around. Maybe give some to mum and dad, maybe your grandparents. Kids, I hope you had lots of fun. We'll see you on the next video. Until then, stay keen. If you haven't already, make sure you get a grown up to help you hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any of the new and exciting videos that we put out. Speaking of new and exciting, if there's a video that you'd love to see Ozzie do, make sure you send us a message on our socials, on Facebook or Instagram at Ozzie for Kids. We'll see you again soon, kids. And until then, stay keen. Oh, and by the way, did you happen to find the hidden Ozzie icon in that video? Yeah, make sure you look closely because they're in every single video. That's right. Stay keen, kids.
Ozzie, 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 oi! Ozzie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of